everyone, and Merry Christmas! I'm filming this very last minute on Christmas Eve because I really wanted to do a Christmas video before Christmas, even though it's less than 24 hours to go. I really want to get back to making some more videos next year. The last 6 months has just been so busy. I've been studying for a qualification, work has been crazy, personal life has been just all over the place. In a good way, just very busy and overwhelming. But everything's calming down. I've got some holiday off work and just looking forward to a lovely Christmas. And I've got a couple of hours today on Christmas Eve to spare. And I thought, you know what? It'd be lovely to just sit down with my file of facts, look back through the year and just chat to you guys about the whole thing. So, the last time I did a video, I think I did up to July this year. So I'll go through from August to December on my flip through. Excuse me. Oh, now I've got tea. But I thought I'd just show you what is going on at the moment. So in my last video as well, I also mentioned that I was going to decorate for Christmas. God, why have I chosen such a tiny tabletop? And as you can see, I went for the blue theme. I had a few different dividers here that I could use. But I just fancied this cute blue one. I've got the snowmen here, or snow people. Just some baubles, wreaths. I think these are candy canes. Little Father Christmases and nutcrackers. So that's been my theme this year. I think maybe next year I might change it to go a bit more with the brown. I've got like kind of a dark green and a dark red divider colourway as well, but fancied this one this year and it's been quite nice. I've had this in, I think, since mid-November, because I usually would change it at the beginning of December, and I always feel like it's not quite enough time with it. It's nice to really enjoy having just some new dividers in here. And I've also got some Christmassy stickers here. I have got lots more in my sticker folder, but these are the ones I've kind of just been using for the diary inserts. But yeah, I'll show you in a sec all the other stickers I've had. So what's worked? So I wanted to talk about what's worked this year, because last year, as a lot of you probably know, I actually stepped away from the file of facts and regretted it. So I've come back to the file of facts this year. I've always had a personal size file of facts. I had the personal Finchy for about 10 years. And then last year I tried one of those A5 ring binder types of planners and just didn't get on with it, because I love how with the file of facts you can change the order of things and move things around and pull things in and out. And I just found that the store-bought ring binder one was just not very flexible or a good way of working. And also it was like a day per page, which for me is just way too much space, especially after we went into obviously all the COVID lockdowns when we weren't really doing much in a day, and I just didn't need that much space. But the personal size was a bit too small for me, so last autumn I bought myself from eBay this Malden A5 and absolutely have loved it this year. It's been so nice to have a file of facts back. So as a planner system, this is definitely working for me, and I absolutely love this binder. I'm so glad I've managed to find this on eBay, and it was such a good price. So always check eBay, because you never know what bargains you'll find. And yeah, I just love it. So definitely going to keep this hopefully for a very long time. And it's always funny because when you say to your friends or to people who might not know you very well, like, oh yeah, I just need to check my file of facts before I put something in the diary, they're like, file of facts? I've not seen a file of facts for 20 years. And I know I'm not the only one, because you all love a file of facts too, but it is funny that it's like considered quite an old-fashioned thing. But I've just always been someone who needs to arrange things on paper. I mean, I have, you know, Google Calendar and a couple of other apps online, but nothing works for me as a system as well as putting it all on paper. So just quickly what's worked this year. So I think some of you might have remembered that last year I had 2 of these, I can't remember what these ones are called. Hang on. Oh yeah, vertical year planners. So I had 2 of these. This first one it's basically like a period tracker, mood tracker. So each month I just write down each day a couple of words about how I feel. I track the day of my cycle, and that's kind of it. And as you can see, it's been working pretty well. And throughout the year, you kind of look back on the same day of your cycle and can sort of see patterns over time. And it just helps me sort of figure out like, okay, next week I might feel a little bit low energy, or next week I'll probably have a lot more energy. So kind of helps me to plan what to book into my diary and things, so I don't kind of overwhelm myself during the weeks where I don't have a lot of energy, but then I can put in the diary things that need a lot of energy when I actually have that to hand. So that's working well, and I'm going to keep up with this next year. And also I'll show you what I've got for next year whilst I'm here. So I've got a new one for next year. Managed to find it in the cotton cream colour, which I love. I think a few of you have mentioned as well, because I've always been on the hunt for the actual diary sheets in a cotton cream for A5. Still can't find them, unfortunately, but I managed to find the year planner at least. Such a pretty colour. So this is the one I'll be having for next year. I had a second one, which has been through a few different iterations. At first, it was going to be my social media planner, but then kind of at the beginning of the year, I took a huge step back from social media because I was just spending a bit too much time on it, like in my personal life. So I didn't want to really sort of think about when to plan to do things and just kind of fit it in when it did actually suit me, rather than having it just be another stress in my life and things to worry about. Because I'd rather do it because I enjoy it and I really fancy doing it, rather than being like, oh, it's another thing on my to-do list to tick off, you know? Because I think it's better to sort of be creative in that open space rather than just like forcing yourself to do it. So then I decided to make it into kind of a macro tracker. So I just kept track on my calories and my proteins, fats and carbs. This worked well for a few months here, as you can probably see. But after a while, I mean, because I've always kind of had a struggle with eating disorders in my life, and I can only really come to this when it's in a very healthy place, because the calorie counting for me is actually just to make sure that I'm eating enough calories, as opposed to eating too few, and to make sure that I'm getting enough protein and carbs in my diet. So it was a healthy thing to do when it was healthy for me to approach it. And after a while this year, I had a bit of a wobble and just had to stop doing the counting for a while, kind of around summertime. And also I got really busy around the summer as well. So that stopped. Then I decided to turn it into a kind of following the moon cycles diary. So basically just each new moon and full moon, just write down a few keywords to kind of keep in mind for those couple of weeks before the next phase came around. And it was kind of a nice idea, but as you can see here, I just didn't keep up with it, because I keep track of my moon things in a different place. And it just didn't really fit very well in here. So this has just kind of not worked this year. So next year I will not be having a second yearly planner. I'll keep the period tracker, but this second one will just go because I just don't need it. But it was a nice idea. And maybe one day I'll come back to the nutrition tracking, but for now it's just healthier for me to not do that. Next, I had the monthly inserts, kind of like a calendar. So this kind of also looks the same as my Google Calendar. Hopefully the camera's picking up the colours here. I basically have colour coordination for whether I'm doing something that's exercise, or for myself, or for the home, or if I'm seeing friends, like all those things. And this is just like not detail, but just to kind of either keep on top of appointments that are coming up throughout the year, or to just note down like what I've done each day, and also to know when the full moons and new moons are coming up. So this was January, this was February. Oh yes, and the pagan festivals I've also managed to note in here. Paydays, reminders like when bills are coming up, or if I've got an appointment, or if I've got some fun activities booked. Like I did a few like drama classes this year just to kind of gain some confidence and be around people, because it's been a very lonely couple of years as someone who lives alone. So that's just how I've, oh yeah, and birthdays. So that's just how I've kept on top of this throughout the year. If I'm honest, I don't really need this part of the diary, but it's just nice to have, because it's nice to sort of look back on things. And also, as I'll show you in a moment, the diary inserts for the year, the main ones, as you go through the year, you sort of have to take them out and have them somewhere else for a while, because otherwise the diary gets like too busy and too full to close. So throughout the year I sort of feed out those inserts, which I do always keep, but this sort of gives me a yearly look back as I go through the year, which is quite nice. June was very busy, as you can see. I did lots of cinema trips, axe throwing, I did theatre trips, I did sword fighting at some point, so I just tried to like really make the most of this year, to just get out and about and enjoy myself as much as possible, and sort of try all those things that I've always said to myself, oh, I really fancy trying that, but just have never got around. Because if there's one thing we've probably all learnt, life is too short to not give everything you want to give a go. This was August, September, and actually it's quite nice to decorate these pages as well, because I don't sort of decorate too much in my diary inserts, but this is quite nice to think about. So yeah, it got a little bit quieter again towards the end of the year, because I was mostly just focusing on studying during this time. And then this is December, which we're almost at the end of already. Crazy. This year, honestly, you know, at the beginning of the year, you're like, oh my God, a whole 12 months to go. But then you get to December and you're like, oh my God, where has the year gone? It's just flown. But it's been a good year. It's been a very good year. So that's that. And I have got a new one for next year, which is here. It is the white again, which is kind of ugly. I wish that they did this in cotton cream as well, but yeah, I like this sort of setup, so I'm going to keep this, and this is it for 2022. I think Christmas Day will be on Sunday next year, so there you go, good to know. So yeah, I've got that for next year, and yeah, that's the monthly inserts. I next had my trackers, which is basically where I kept track of how many new TV shows and movies I'd watched and books I've read. I am kind of almost ashamed to tell you how many new films I've watched this year. And I did do this where like each month I'd write down the best positives of that month, but this kind of just got forgotten about halfway through the year. Books read, a little list of books to read, and just, yeah, kind of that tracking system. Shall I tell you how many new films I've watched? Okay, you know what, I will, because we're all friends here. I've watched 75 new films this year, which, I don't know, maybe that's impressive, maybe it's really sad. But I love films, I love watching films, and if anyone has seen the new Spider-Man film, No Way Home, please let me know what you thought. No spoilers in the comments, please. But I thought it was such a good film, and it's been such a good year for Marvel, like as a Marvel fan, because I'm a new Marvel fan, I'll be honest. It was only in the last couple of years I've really got into it, and it's so nice to now be able to go to the cinema and watch these films with other fans and be able to experience it, because I think one of my biggest regrets is not having been able to have watched Endgame in the cinemas, because I hadn't got to that point when it came out in the cinema. But alas, we learn. So yeah, and lots of new TV shows as well. I also got through actually the whole of Gilmore Girls this year, and I thought this would be a cute idea, because obviously in the Gilmore Girls they reference a lot of movies and books. So what I did is I printed out all the books that they list and all the movies that they list in the show, just as something like, if I'm ever at a loss of what to read or what to watch, I can just have a look at this list and see if something tickles my fancy, just as something cute to do, really. So that was the trackers. Books read, I've read 21 books, which, considering I don't really commute anymore, I'll take it. I'll take it. And that's kind of it really. The next tab was goals. I'll probably keep this private. I did manage to tick most things off, but one thing that I will say actually about goals is that, particularly with obviously really busy work the last 6 months and having to study every day for a qualification, I just found that like sometimes I'm my own biggest enemy in that I will overwhelm myself, either saying to people I'll be able to make events when really I don't have the time or the energy, and energy is very important. Is that I was overspending my energy and just was exhausted all the time. So with my goals, I just kind of went through around July, August time and just assessed like what's actually important here to really do this year. And obviously the main one for me was to just get through studying, take care of myself, and that was kind of it. And there are things I like to do. For example, you know, I do love to read, but I took away the goal of, you know, reading a set number of books a year and instead just being like, just read, you know, every day for maybe just like 10 minutes, even if it's 10 minutes, because you're still doing something that you want to do, but, you know, not pressurizing yourself to reach a certain number and actually taking the pleasure away from the activity. So that's what I kind of did there, and I did that with quite a few of my goals this year. So I've still reached goals, but I've not put, you know, set numbers or things on them, because I just needed to step back a little bit. So yeah, that was it really. And I think next year, I don't really have a huge amount of goals next year. I just want to try a few more activities that I didn't get around to in the summer. I mean, travel would be lovely to be able to do, considering how this, I'll just whisper this, the new COVID variant goes. And I mean, I feel like this year I made the most of it, but perhaps I also overbooked myself. So need to find a balance there. And this was my personal tab, which is just things like addresses, passwords and things like that. So I won't show that one. Self-care section, which was new kind of around the end of summer. I think this was in my last video, this section here. So I just wrote down like, basically if I have a few spare hours a day, just some things that I can do, not things to tick off, just things that I know that I like to do that bring me back to a place of calm and mindfulness. And I wrote here as well, things that I need high energy for, low energy, or things for a rainy day. So it's just things like watch YouTube videos, because we all love that. Ice skating. I've got down here make Excel spreadsheets, because honestly I do love making Excel spreadsheets. It just makes me feel very satisfied. Dancing, planning my next holiday, not that I've been on holiday for bloody 7 years now. Tarot reading, just those little fun things. Puzzling, playing chess, dressing up and taking photos, because, you know, it's always nice to feel good. And that's just for that really. I don't really come back to this much because I do all those things anyway, but it's nice to just have them noted down. These are just some other little self-care things that I've spoke about before. And then finally is the diary. I've had the week on 2 pages, the white one, which is super boring, and like I said before, I still can't find this A5 week on 2 pages in cotton cream. I've looked everywhere online. If anyone ever finds it, please let me know, but alas, I can't find it. So for this year, I did the week on 2 pages, so it splits the week out like this. Now, this is all my pages that I've saved throughout the whole of this year, because as I mentioned, as you sort of go through the year, the pages fill out a little bit, as you can see up here, with like, as you put stickers in and sort of thumb through it and things, it seems to expand quite a bit. So as I go through the months, I take them out, hole punch them, pop them on a treasury tag, and then save them. I have a few boxes where I've saved all these over the years, and I will never ever get rid of them. But that's how I deal with it throughout the year. And I tried to make the most of the space, because this was actually a lot more space than I was used to when I had the personal version, because I think I had the week on 2 pages as well in the personal, but obviously it's much more condensed. I mean, as you will see as I flip through the year, the way I use it does just like slowly disperse. What do I track on here? So beginning of the year, I was tracking like everything I do each day, without fail, which is take medicine, vitamins, meditate, track my food when I was tracking my food, and read for 10 minutes a day. And as the year, that's kind of gone because I do those without having to remind myself, basically. And then just noting down what I did each day. Maybe it's for work or personal or things I watched, books I read. Basically, that's what I did for the diary, and tried to decorate it quite nicely. Just things that I did throughout the week that are nice to look back on, because that's really kind of why I do this. Like, I don't use this so much as a planner in advance, because that's what I use the Google Cal for, because if things get cancelled or plans change, as they often do at the moment, then I can just delete those, whereas this is kind of used as a what did happen for memory keeping, because I love looking back over the years, especially this time of year, being like, oh, you know, what did I do around this week, you know, a few years ago. And it's so nice to see like how life changes and moves on, and like the people you're with, they change, they come and go. The things that you do, like activities and exercise, they change, because I left CrossFit this year, which I've been a CrossFitter for about 6 years, but this year it was just time to say goodbye. It was just not quite the same after the whole COVID thing, and just trying to work out in a more gentle way. So that's a big change this year. I mean, because it's the end of the year, I will just do this quick flip through of the whole year. But yeah, as you can see here, it sort of disperses a little bit. I sort of take it back to the basics, depending how busy I am, because some weeks I was a bit less busy. It's quite nice as well to see, like, obviously all these summary pages. It's quite nice. All the summer colours. I am absolutely a winter and autumn person though. I mean, I do love summer because it's nice to be out and about and not have to take your coat around, but I love the coziness of autumn and the sparkly frostiness of winter. Oh yeah, so I think I did up to July, didn't I, in my last video? So this was the end of July, and then this was the beginning of August. Oh yeah, and this is when I started my ice skating. I had a week of skating lessons in the morning, just one of those group things, and I didn't actually realise that it was a kind of a half-term kids thing. So it was just me and a bunch of kids, which was very funny, but they actually were very good kids, and they were encouraging me when I felt like I was a crazy person flailing around on the ice. So yeah, just keeping track of what happened each day. Had a bit of a wobble around August. Had some big problems with vertigo, which I've never had before. So I actually stopped working out for a few weeks because it's quite difficult to really do anything in a day. When you're so dizzy, you feel like you've been drinking all day when you haven't. She's still ongoing, but I'm on tablets now, so they're helping. So yeah, you sort of forget, like, when you look back on a year, it's quite like difficult to remember the detail of each day because obviously time sweeps it away. But I love looking back on a year with these diary sheets, because you can remember like how much has changed in just a year. So that's up to September, and I've got here from September up to now, which I'll just show you quickly. A little bit lazy decorating. Sort of towards the end of the year I get a bit tired and can't do much. This is my Viking page. As you can tell, I was really into Vikings around September, October. Such a good TV show that I've now actually stopped watching because it's quite heavy going. But yes, my little Ragnar Lothbrok there. I found these stickers in Poundland for £1. I mean, what a bargain. So yeah, quite quiet for the rest of the year. And I think as the year's gone on, I've realised actually, as you can see, like I've stopped sort of listing things in the day and tried to spread the words out a little bit because I'm aware that I'm just kind of not really using the space very well. I still love the size though, but next year, what I'm going to give a go is, and I ummed and ahed about this for a couple of weeks whilst they were in my basket, but I've going to try next year the week on one page, because it's still a good size, because it's the A5 size, but there's slightly less space. And I'm hoping this will be a good compromise between the bigger size but also not needing so much space in a week. I'm not sure, because it actually looks quite compact on this page here. But I'll give it a go, because, you know, if it doesn't work, I can always just replace it with a week on 2 pages again. But I thought there's no harm in just giving this a go, because this might work a little bit better for me. Especially because I'm now not really tracking the daily things I do, or being really hard on myself with the goals. But it is fun to decorate the week on 2 pages, actually. I mean, obviously I don't decorate too much, but the extra space I think does give you a lot of leeway for decorating. And then here we came into December. Tried to decorate it for December. And this is it, really. You can tell I really went ham on the decoration here. I was like, yes, Christmas is here. And this is where we are this week. So, yeah, here we go. And then next week, I've decorated that already. And that's the last week of the year that I've decorated. So, God, it's crazy, isn't it? 1 week to go. So that's basically where I am. There's just a lot of rubbish back here. Spare sheets. I've got this here, a running training timetable, which I have never used because I stopped running this year after I hurt my foot. So yeah, just lots of rubbish back here that I need to sort out. So that's kind of it, just a quick flip through of the whole year. And plans for next year. So I'm going to keep this yearly planner. I'll keep the monthly planner as well, because that's just quite nice as a looking time each month. And I'm going to keep all the tabs as they are, because they're really working for me. The beginning of last year I had a finance tab, but actually that wasn't really working well, because I do all my finances on an Excel spreadsheet, so it was just a bit of a faff to have to fill in. So I'd switched that for, I think, the goals tab. Was it self-care, actually? I think I switched it for the self-care tab. To be honest, I only really need 5 tabs in this, but it looks nice with the 6, doesn't it? So hey-ho. And then, yeah, gonna keep the diary, but have it as a week on 1 page and see how that goes. Dear Filofax, if you ever come across this video, please know that we would deeply appreciate cotton cream A5 weekly inserts. Thank you. So that's it, really. And like I said, I really do want to make a few more videos next year, particularly as I change all my dividers, because I want to make a few more of those, see how the new inserts work. And I mean, I've meant to do this the entire of this year. I can't believe a whole year has gone by where I've wanted to sit down and make a video about how I go about my tarot practices and how I've found practicing the pagan Sabbaths this year, because that's been new for me and I've absolutely loved it. And it's been really nice to sort of connect to a spiritual practice that way that I haven't before. That's my ideas for next year, and now I'm no longer studying, I will hopefully have more time. But that's it for now, just a quick one on Christmas Eve. I hope if you're celebrating Christmas, whether for religious reasons or just as a holiday, I hope that you have a really wonderful Christmas and the best New Year. I hope that you are surrounded by people you love, or if not, that you love yourself. That you just have a really lovely break, whatever you're doing. So sending you lots of love. Thanks for watching, and I promise, see you next year. Bye bye bye.